Hey everybody, Mr. Noble here, week 5, English 11 overview. We're going to start where we always start. Click on Your Journey Begins Here. My goal with this video is to take a couple minutes, make sure you know what you're supposed to be doing, and get you rolling. So if you look at week 5, we've got 2 assignments. The first is reading and vocabulary, and then the second is writing. Please notice there is no grammar this week. That means I'm going to spend some extra energy looking at your paragraphs in the writing assignment. So please take some time and try and put together the best 5 to 7 sentences you can. So when we click on week 5, lesson 1, you're going to see some instructions that start with a slide presentation. Step 2 is going to be the links to the story, both in text and an audio version. And then step 3 is going to be to complete these questions here. There are 5 questions about the story, and then there are 4 questions about the vocabulary. Put all of this information on a Google Doc, and then go down here and you'll submit that either in the text box, click the submit button, put it in, click the submit button again, or you can upload a doc file from your Google Docs. Really quick, I want to go through this slide presentation so we can see what we're doing for the week. We're going to focus on tone, irony, and theme. And then we're also going to continue practicing our writing as we put together a claim, which is our opinion, and then we back it up with examples from the text. Assignment 1 is going to look specifically at tone and irony, and then the vocab. I'm going to read the story. It's a really short one this week, and then you'll have the discussion questions. Assignment 2 is going to have you look specifically at theme and then write a paragraph, and no grammar this week. So quick review, tone is the attitude of a writer towards the subject in the story or the audience. So it is the feelings that the author is presenting to the reader. So they could seem angry, they could seem funny, they could seem sarcastic. So after you read through the story, do you think the author was happy, sad, angry, sarcastic? What feelings did the author have as she was writing the story? Here's a few examples, what I'm talking about. Please note there's a video here. If you're stuck, you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, maybe take a look at this video. You could also show up to the Google Meets or send me an email if you are confused about any of this. The next piece is irony. So we hear the word ironic a lot, but what does it actually mean? So for our purposes here, it is when something happens in the opposite way that you would expect. So for example, if you were driving down the street and you saw a green stop sign, we would say that's ironic because it is not what we would expect. When you get through the end of this short story this week, it's going to be ironic. It is going to be the opposite of what you thought was going to happen. And part of what I want you to do is think about why. Why is this the opposite? What did you expect to happen? Why did you expect these things to be this way? And then how is it opposite of what you were expecting? So that's irony. A little bit about the author. Take a minute to read the slide. I want you to focus on these things over here, though. You need to know that Kate Chopin had a tough life. She was very focused on women's rights, and she lived during the 1800s, which was a tough time for everyone, but especially for women. And that is the author. So as you read, think about where she is coming from. This was first published in a magazine in 1894, so it's an old story, and it was published in Vogue, which is still published today. And back then especially, it was a women's magazine that was focused on fashion, beauty, culture, living, and breaking away from man-centered ideas. So it was a women's publication, which is interesting to note as you go through. Going on during this time is something called women's suffrage. We're just about to approach the 100-year anniversary of the women's suffrage movement, getting women the right to vote. So know that she was a big part of this, and this is happening in the culture of this time. And so kind of look in the story, what might she be saying about women's rights? Here's a little breakdown on how to submit the document to me for grading. You can look at that. And then here are the questions. They're also right down here. They're the same exact thing. And that is assignment number 1. When you get to assignment number 2, you're going to look at a few slides about theme, which is the moral of the story. So what are you supposed to learn from reading the story? And then you're going to write one solid paragraph. I want you to please try to put together 5 to 7 sentences if you can. If you can't, do your best. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but I want you to try. If you have any questions, please let me know. Show up to a Google Meet, call me on the phone, send me an email. I am here to help. Hopefully this isn't too much this week. The story's pretty short. We took away the grammar. So if you have any spare time, please try and get some of that work caught up from the last couple weeks before parent-teacher conferences, which are coming up in 1 week. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great weekend.